We continue now at the top of Daf Lamed Amud Aleph and Meseches Eruvin. This is Eruvin Daf 30a. This daf is sponsored on the occasion of the yahrzeit of Fega Bas Mordechai. Her neshama should have an aliyah. If you would like to sponsor an amud or a daf, please see the description box below. We thank you for your sponsorships. The Gemara here was discussing roasted meat. Let's say a person wants to make an eruv with roasted meat. So according to Rav Yosef, the person is going to need to make 2 meals worth that he would eat of roasted meat. Not just that would accompany bread, but 2 actual meals worth, because that's what they did in Persia. That's what the Persians did. And Abaya now asks, from the following halacha, it says, "Avol bigdei ashirim la'aniyim lo." When it comes to begadim of ashirim for aniyim, that does not become tameh, or that's not the shear for tumah. Rashi here explains, "Avol bigdei ashirim la'aniyim lo." Kilomar, what it means to say is like this: lo aniyim. When it comes to poor people, when you have these clothing to become tameh, lo ba'inan bigdei ashirim. You don't need the fabric, the garment, to be as large as it needs to be by ashirim, by wealthy people. Elo kevan delididhu chazu azli basrayu. Since the garment, the fabric, is something that's chashiv to the aniyim, that shear is enough that it should be considered a chashiv a beged, and it is mekabel tumah. And so therefore, Abaya asks, hachanami here also, afa gavdil parsoi lav liftonhu. Even though the Persians don't use the roasted meat as an accompaniment to bread, kevan delididon have a lifton. Since we use it as an accompaniment to bread, niski b'shir zuta, it should be enough to make the eruv with a smaller shear. Why do we need to follow the Persians, who are not the majority of the world in terms of the shear? And the Gemara says, now maybe you'll say, well, we always have to go l'chumra. So when it comes to the begadim, we always we always say it becomes tameh even at the smaller shear. And when it comes to eruv, you have to always use the larger shear. Maybe that's the answer. Rashi says, hachal l'chumra, tekevan dechazu lehu mekabli tumah. Since it's fit for the aniyim, it's mekabel tumah. So that's because it's a chumrah. V'hachal l'chumra, da'ad have a lifton l'kuli alma liboy shiura rabba. That maybe you'll say again l'chumra that everybody, it would have to be an accompaniment according to all people. But if not, if it's not an accompaniment according to all people, if there are some people who eat this alone, isolated as a meal, we're going to need the larger shear. Maybe we always go l'chumra. So the Gemara says v'atanya, but we learned in a brisa not that way. This is a brisa by Eruv. Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar Omer. Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar says, "Ma'arvin lechola ulezaken kidei mizono." Let's say somebody's sick. Let's say somebody's elderly. You can make an Eruv the amount that person eats, even though that person eats much less than a regular person. Uleravson besuda beinanis. And also, let's say you have somebody who eats a lot, somebody who's famished. He does not need to use the amount that he eats in his meal. He can use the average meal. You see that we go lenient. Besuda beinanis shall kol adam, of a regular average person. Rashi says, "Vatanya gabe Eruv the kaven dechaz." As long as it's good for this particular elderly person, this particularly sick person, that's going to be considered a mazon shtei seudos. Even by a ravson who needs much more, it's enough with an average. You see, we always go lakula, so that is incorrect. That's not going to be an answer to say that we always are stringent. So the Gemara says, Kasha, you're right, this is indeed a question. What Abaya is asking on Rav Yosef is a question. Why is Rav Yosef saying we have to be strict with the amount of roasted meat because of the way the Persians eat the meat? Gemara now asks, though, on Rav Shimon ben Elazar. Rav Shimon ben Elazar, Hachi, does Rav Shimon ben Elazar really say that we can be lenient in this fashion and go by the small amount of a meal, let's say, that a chola will have, or by an average meal, even though somebody eats much more? Vatanya, we learned in a brisa in a different context. Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar says, Og melech habashan pischo kemiluo. Let's say you have a person as large as Og melech habashan, who was a giant, so the halachas of psachim go by what kind of doorway he would need in order to enter the house. This is talking about halachas of tumah. Rashi here says, Pischo kemiluo lahatzil al shar psachim. Halacha is, if you have a doorway that can fit Og melech habashan, let's say in his particular case, all the other psachim, all the other holes in the house, they're not going to convey the tumah. Rashi says, "V'leka pesach techazile." If there's no door in this house that fits for this particular person, kol chur malei egrof shabiksalim. Every hole that is as large as a fist in the walls tamei, and every one of those holes is going to be tamei. But if you do have a doorway that's large enough, it's matzil. It saves those areas from being tamei. And you see here that Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar says we go not by the average person, but we go by the size of this particular person. So the Gemara answers, "Ve'Abaya hasam hechi li'avid hadume nahadme v'nafke." So Abaya will respond. There's a little question over here why it is that Abaya is responding. Maybe this is a contradiction in brises between Rav Shimon ben Elazar. But the point is that the response is in this case of Tumah, there's no other choice, because how else are we going to get this guy out of here? What are you going to do? You're going to cut him up You're going to cut him up over here and take him out. That's not practical. Therefore, this is not really going to be considered a Pesach. Rashi says, Hadume nahadme yinaschu levarna. You're going to cut him up and take him out. That's not going to be a practical solution. And therefore, Therefore, in this particular case, you're going to need a doorway that fits Og Melech HaBoshen. The Hagos Marab Ranchberg is the one who reads this as a question, as a tema. Hadume nahadme v'nafke, are we really going to cut him up and take him out? That's how he reads this question. Iboiluhu, they ask the following question. Pligi Rabbanan Oleh Rav Shimon ben Elazar Olo. Do the Rabbanan, when it comes to this halacha of a mace in the house, of a dead body, do the Rabbanan argue on Rav Shimon ben Elazar, or does everybody agree with this halacha about it has to be the size of Og Melech HaBoshen? So Toshma coming here. Diyama Rabba bar bar Chana Rabbi Yochanan, because Rabba bar bar Chana says in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Og Melech HaBoshen Pischo be'arba. When it comes to Og Melech HaBoshen, his doorway just has to be 4 tvachim. So apparently it doesn't have to be his actual size. So the Gemara says not a raya. Hasam dika psachim ketanim tuva vika chad dehave arba. In that particular case, there are many openings, and there's just one that's 4 tvachim. Devadai kika maravich ba'uka maravich. It is clear, it is certain that they're going to widen that particular door. They're not going to choose to make any of the other doors wide. Rashi here says psachim ketanim pechusin midad. You have a bunch of smaller openings, less than 4. Ba'hu maravich. That's the one they're going to open up. Hilkach matzil al kulan, therefore it saves everything. Aval kulan shavin bedalid o beyud amos. But let's say they're all 4 10 amos. Apparently this is really talking about amos, not tvachim, sorry. So let's say they're all equal to 10 or to 4 10 amos. Kulan tamei, and they're all going to be tamei. Delo yadi b'hai meravich. Because in that situation, we don't know which one is going to be opened up. Umapik, which one's going to be used. In this particular case, it's a little different because we know which doorway is going to be used. Ve'afilu niftach echad mehen v'acherim segurim. Even if one's open, the others are closed. O chishav alav lotzio b'echad mehen. Or let's say you have machshava to take, it's not going to make a difference. Tanan b'gemar Meseches beitza hu tamei v'kulan tohorim. Hani mili hechad dehai chazile ve'afilu kulu chazile. Aval hechad deleka chad dechazile uboy meravach v'kulan shavin lo yadinan b'hai meravach. If you have a bunch of equal doorways, nothing is fit for the guy, then you really don't know which one you're going to use. And so that's why this is not a proof. That case is exceptional. Amar Rav Chia Barashi, Amar Rav, Rav Chia Barashi says in the name of Rav, Ma'arvin bebasar chay, you're allowed to make an eruv with raw meat. Amar Rav Simi Bar Chia, Ma'arvin bebeitzim chayas, you're allowed to make an eruv with raw eggs. V'kama how many? Amar Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak, Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak says, Sinai Amar, that Sinai says, this is Rav Yosef, who was a baki in Mishnayos and Brises, was called Sinai. He says, how many eggs? Shtayim, it is 2 eggs. And just one note over here, even though Rashi does here say Daled o Yud Amos, that's not the opinion of most of the commentaries. I'm not sure why he uses Amos as an example, but Rav Nisim Gaon, for example, says Pischo b'Dalet Tvachim. We're talking here about Dalet Tvachim, 4 Tvachim, and of course that would also fit with the language of Arba'a. If it would be Amos, it would be Arba Amos. So it does seem to be Tvachim, even though Rashi uses examples of Dalid and Yud Amos. And we'll continue now at the 2 dots. Hanoder min hamazon mutter b'mayim v'chulu. It says if somebody makes a neder that he's not going to have any food, any mazon, which is going to be the discussion here. What does the word mazon mean? The person can still have water and salt. That's not considered mazon. So the Gemara asks, Melach umayim hu delo ikri mazon. So salt and water is not mazon. Hakol mila ikri mazon, but everything else is going to be called mazon. Lema te'ave tiyufta de Rav Shmuel. That should be a refutation of what Rav and Shmuel said. De Rav Shmuel de Amri Tarvaya, because Rav and Shmuel both said, Ein mevorchin bori minei mezonos el al chameshes haminin bilvad. We only make mezonos on the 5 species of grain and nothing else. So apparently, if you only make mezonos on those things, those are the only things that are called mazon. The Gemara says, "Velo zvine chadazimna." But didn't we already ask a question like this in another location, in another place? The Gemara says, "Lema tavit yuftayu nami meha." Okay, that's true. We have asked questions in Rav and Shmuel from other sources, but let us say that this is a refutation of them as well. So the Gemara answers, Amar Rav Huna. Rav Huna says it's not a refutation. Bi Omer kol hazon olai. It's not that the person says all mizonos. He doesn't make a neder that he won't have mizonos. He's making a neder that he's not going to have anything that is zon. Rashi says, Masnisen do'asar le b'chol mili lav do'amar yayasar alai mazon. He's not saying mazon. Devade lo mikri mazon alahem minim. If he would have said the word mazon, the only thing that would have been prohibited for him would have been the 5 species of grain. To have a min dagan. Those are types of grain. The zaini vesadi liba. Those, they fill a person, they make the heart full. Ela kagon damar yayasar alai kol hazon. The person here is saying he doesn't want to have anything that is zun. Demashma kol davar hamasbiya, anything that provides satisfaction. Dechol mili zaini, everything provides satisfaction. Chutz mimayim v'melach, except for water and salt. Aval misad lo saadi v'lo mikro mazon. But not everything makes it like a meal and is called mazon. That only applies to the 5 species of grain. So in any case, our Mishnah is not a proof because it's not talking about mazon, it's talking about zon. Mayim umelach hu delo zaini hakol mili zaini. Again, mayim and melach don't produce any satisfaction. All other things do. Gemara says, "V'amar Rabba bar Chana," but Rabba bar Chana said, "Ki havazilna basrei Reb Yochanan." He said, when I followed Reb Yochanan, lemechal perid de ginosar, to eat the fruits of ginosar. Ki avinan bei meya havim en aktinon lechol chad v'chad asar. If there would be 100 of us there, everyone would get 10 fruits. Ki avinan bei asar. If there'd be 10 of us there, havim en aktinon lechol chad v'chad meya, everyone would get 100 fruits. There were a total of 1,000 fruits. V'chol meya minayu havim machzik lu'tzina bas plus asoy. He says every 100 of them took up a basket of 3 saws. Some people have the gear, so it did not fill a basket of 3 saws. It was a very large amount. And we ate all of this fruit. And he said, he said an oath that I had no satisfaction. So apparently the peiros of ginosar do not provide satisfaction, but we just said that all foods provide satisfaction except for mayim and melach. So the Gemara answers, Ema mizona. Really, the statement was not that it provided no satisfaction. The statement was it was not mazon, which would be consistent with what we said before. Since these fruits were not part of the 5 species, they're not considered mazon. Gemara continues, Amar Rav Huna, Amar Rav. Rav Huna says in the name of Rav, Shvua shelo ochel kikor zu. Let's say a person makes an oath that he's not going to eat this particular loaf of bread. Ma'arvin lo ba. He can still make an eruv with that loaf of bread. And the idea is he can still get benefit, even though he himself can't eat it. Other people can eat it. Rashi says, Ma'arvin lo ba. Zelo nadar ela me'achila. He just said he's not going to eat. V'imisham de lo chazile. The fact that he can't eat it, ha'chazile achrini. Somebody else can eat it. Midida have a nazar b'yayin. Just like we said that a nazar is allowed to make an eruv with wine, even though the nazar can't have the wine, but somebody else can have the wine. So that's not a problem. But Rav Huna continues in the name of Rav, Kikor zu alai ein ma'arvin loba. If the person says Kikor zu alai, which Rashi understands means that the person is saying he's not going to have any hana at all. Rashi says, Kikor zu alai mashma kol dvar hana asa ka'asarla. He's saying all benefit he is prohibiting on himself from this. So in that case, ein ma'arvin loba. He can't make an eruv with it. So the Gemara asks a question. Meisvei, they ask a question from the following brisa: Hanodir min hakikor ma'arvin lo ba. It says that if a person makes a neder from a loaf of bread, he's allowed to make an eruv. Ma'alav damar olai isn't the case where he said the word olai. Gemara says lo damar zu. No, the case is he said zu. It's not a contradiction. And the Gemara says hachinam mistaber. This makes sense. The Kotani Sefer. Look at the end of this brisa. It says Eimosai. When is this true? Bisman shomer shvua shelo atemna. If he says an oath that he's not going to taste from it, avol amar olai. Now the Gemara is inferring. The implication you're making is, the implication you want us to draw is that if he says the word alai mai, what should we infer? Hachanami de'ein ma'arvin lo bar. Are you trying to say that this brisa means you don't make an eruv by alai? But then we have a problem from the end. If so, aditani kikor zu hektish ein ma'arvin lo ba. The end of the brisa goes on to say that if you make a kikor hektish, then already you're not allowed to make an eruv with something that's hektish. Lefisha ein ma'arvin behekteshos, because you're not allowed to make an eruvin with hektish. So why say that case as a negative? Say the case of alai. It should have said that if you say kikor zu alai, you're not allowed to. Liflog v'lisni b'dida. If the brisa really held like Rav Huna in the name of Rav, it should have divided within the case of shvu itself. When is a shvu okay to make an eruv? The amar zu, and he says zu. Avol amar olai ein marvin lo ba. But if he says olai, there's no eruv. So Amar Lach Rav Huna can answer you. Elamai. So what are you going to say? Kol echad amar olai ma'arvin. That if you say olai, you still could make an eruv. Kasharesha. Then the first line of the brisa is also a problem, because again the brisa seemed to imply it's only true when you say shvua shelo atemna. And only in that situation, and that alai would be a problem. So therefore, you're going to have to say chisurei mechsera v'hachi katani. So the Gemara ends up answering. You're going to have to say some words are missing from this brisa, and here's how you should read the brisa: Hanoder min hakikar ma'arvin lo ba va'afilu amar alai. Even if you say alai, you can make the eruv. Nasa ka'omer shvua shelo atem. Now that's the same as making a shvua that you're not going to taste it. Alai is the same as zu. But in any case, that's how you read the Brisa. Mikol Makom Kashal Rav Huna. We're still back to a question on Rav Huna. In other words, very good. There was a problem in the text of the Brisa. We answer the Brisa by saying some words are missing. But even in our answer for the Brisa, we still have a contradiction to Rav Huna. Rav Huna says Kikar Zu Alai is a problem to make an Erev. The Brisa seems to say it's okay. So the Gemara answers, Hu Damar Rabbi Eliezer. Rav Huna holds like Rabbi Eliezer. The Tanya we learned in a Brisa. Rabbi Eliezer says, Shvua Shelo Ochel Kikar Zu Ma'arvin Lo Ba. If a person makes a Shvua not to eat the Kikar, he can make an Erev. Kikar Zu Alai Ein Ma'arvin Lo Ba. Rabbi Eliezer says, if he says Kikar Zu Alai, then in fact he is allowed to make an Erev. It's not a problem. Gemara continues, Rabbi Eliezer Hachi, but does Rabbi Eliezer really say this? We have a contradiction in Rabbi Eliezer. Vatani, we learned in a Brisa, Klal, here's the rule, Adam Oser Atzmo Ba'ochel Ma'arvin Lo Ba. If a person forbids himself to eat a particular food, he's allowed to make the Erev. Ochel Haneser Lo La Adam Ein Ma'arvin Lo Ba. If you have an Ochel, if you have a food that is Oser to the person, then it already is a problem. That would be like Olai. We'll see Rashi on this. And Rabbi Eliezer says, Kikar Zu Olai Ma'arvin Lo Ba. If you say Olai, you can make the Erev. Kikar Zu Hektish. If you say Hektish Ein Ma'arvin Lo Ba, you're not allowed to make an Erev. Lefish Ein Ma'arvin Lo Bekteshus. You can't make an Erev with Hektish. And the Gemara ends up answering Trei Tanoi V'Aliba de Rabbi Eliezer. You're correct. There are two Tanoim who had different opinions in what Rabbi Eliezer said. And therefore we have a contradiction. It is true, we have a contradiction in Rabbi Eliezer because we're not 100% sure what he said. Just a few Rashis here. Adam Oser Atzmo Ba'ochel. If a person asers himself in eating something, then we said that a person can make an Erev in such a situation. Shetola Hanederim B'maisa Shehu Oser Ba'atzmo. Something, it's a maisa that he can't do. It's on the gaver, it's on the person. Dahainu shelo ochel. He's saying he's not going to eat. Ma'arvin lo ba, he can make an erev. Da hanad b'meilahi v'lavi yuavid. Because that's just hanad that's coming b'meila when you make an erev. He himself is not doing anything. Ochel haneser al adam. But if the food is usher to the person, kigon kikar zu te usher alai. You say this kikar is usher to me. Or I'm not going to get any hana from this kikar. You're not making it dependent on a maisa that he himself does. That includes even a hana d'memela. You're not allowed to make an erev. That's how Rashi understands this brisa. Rashi gives an alternative explanation. Another way of understanding kikar zu alai. In the case of kikar zu alai, ma'arvin lo ba. You know why you're allowed to make an erev? There's an opinion later on that an erev is only for a mitzvah, mitzvahs lav lehanos nitnu, and mitzvahs are not considered hana. Hilkach mishum hana lo ichbeslan. Therefore, we're not worried about hana. V'im mishum de lo chazila, and if the issue is he can't eat it, hachazila acherim, other people can eat it. Dumya de nazir b'yayin. That's similar to a case of a nazir with wine. Kikar zu hektish lo chazia lo ledidei v'lo la'achrini. But when you say something is hektish, nobody can get hana from that. V'anon su'uda haruya b'ina. But we need it to be at least fit for somebody. Kedel kamon, like we say later on, ze ikr. So that's Rashi says that is the ikr pshat of what would be the halach in kikar zu alai and what the difference is between alai and hektish. Again, if kikar zu alai you can make an erev, and hektish you're not allowed to make an erev. Gemara continues that the two dots, ma'arvin l'nazir b'yayin. It said in the Mishnah that you're allowed, a nazir is allowed to make an erev with wine because others can drink the wine. Gemara says, masnisa deloka beis shammai. The Mishnah does not follow beis shammai. The Tanya we learned in the Brisa, beis shammai, omer beis shammai say, ein ma'arvin l'nazir b'yayin. A nazir cannot use wine for an erev. Well, Yisrael b'truma, Yisrael cannot use truma for an erev. Beis Hillel, omer beis Hillel say, ma'arvin l'nazir b'yayin. Well, Yisrael b'truma, it's fine. A nazir can use wine, Yisrael can use truma. Amru lehen beis Hillel beis shammai. Beis Hillel say to beis shammai, iatem modim, don't you admit. And we'll see the continuation of this discussion in the next video on Daf Lamed Amud Beis.